Hey, I'm Wilson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I will teach you guys about how I approach shading in a digital program like Procreate, but this can be used on any other program, and how to use the multiply layer to get the effect you see here. By the end of the video, you should be able to create shading like this Naruto drawing I made. It's important to understand how to use the multiply layer in order for you to get an effective result with your drawings. Okay, let's begin. So what we're gonna do right now, if you see this shading, we're gonna disable this and we're gonna start from scratch. So here we go. Let's delete this. This is where the shading part starts. So what I do is I add a new layer. I create a clipping mask on the color layer. I take a color that's blue. I take a sharp pen tool like this one. I go to that layer and put it on multiply, and I start shading. Now the approach I take for shading is I start with what I know. I know, for example, there will be no lighting behind this neck here. This is for sure. I don't know about shadings here. I'm not sure, right? But I do know certain things. For example, if the light is coming from here, if the light is coming from this direction, I absolutely know that in here this will be in shadow. Why? Because it's just obvious, right? Because the light won't be able to pass there. So I know all of this right here will be in shadow. So what I first do is I approach this painting by things I know first, and the things that are kind of questionable for me, I leave it for later on. I know there will be no light here, right? I know there will be no light here because there's a fold. And I know there will be no light here because there's a fold as well. And here either. Right? I just start with what I know. And possibly, since this is like a cylinder, I believe there will be no light there. The light, the opacity. So this is the second step. Once you have the light, you can reduce the opacity to whatever you like. Sometimes it's good to start with a lower base in order to add more onto it later. For example, for here, I'm just gonna leave it at 70%. There we go. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the third step. What the third step would be creating lost edges. There are a couple of ways that you can do this. One is by using a smudge tool. In Photoshop they also have that, like the blending tool. But for example, let's say you take one of these brushes, right? In Procreate you can pick a brush for your smudging tool. So one, I'm going to show you a couple of techniques of how you can use the smudge technique. So one, you can use the smudge technique and you can smooth that out. Now it's kind of hard to get the consistency, but as you see here, it's getting a lost edge. It's not as sharp as these. Right? That's one way you can use the smudge tool. The second way is to use one of my favorite techniques, is using the select tool, going around the shading, and then using the motion blur, and then pushing forward. So you get very even, mechanical, nice shading. I love it. So yeah, I hope that you learned how to shade a little bit, and I hope this video helped you. Alright, so see you guys in the next video. Bye.